and let us all do we can to build a better future.
Okay, so the Democrats are working double time for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. I've said this before on the show, but Kit, why are you talking about this again? Well, the thing is, we are seeing the Democrats work double time in smearing Dr. Cornel West. They're going after him for his, oh my goodness, shocker, $500,000 in back taxes. Now, again, fine, nobody's perfect. But in comparison to the world heavyweight champions out there that have been paying their taxes, or the corporations that haven't been paying their taxes, listen, I respect Dr. Cornel West a lot. I do. But in the realm, in the environment of people who have been paying their taxes, he's not even a welterweight champion. He's not even a jabroni. Okay? He doesn't hit the radar scale of people who haven't been paying their taxes in the top 1%. It's all a distraction to try and dissuade leftists and progressives and independents. And yes, even some conservatives from voting for Dr. Cornel West. I know. Democrats, try a little bit harder. Your fear tactics aren't working, but I get it. Everyone's triggered by Trump. Everyone's afraid of Donald Trump. Everyone's afraid of the fact that, oh no, people are seeing that Joe Biden is a senile old bat. Well, guess what, Democrats? That's your dog. You bet on him. And oh, by the way, Kamala Harris, her approval rating is lower than Biden's. Now, you guys push these two liberals, vote blue no matter who, K-Hive, all you fantastic big brain people. These are your two dogs in the race. But I don't owe them a vote. And I will encourage my audience, and yes, you could quote me on this, I am going to encourage my audience to vote how they feel like. I'm not going to tell them how to vote. And if some of my viewing audience members don't want to vote, that's their choice. That's their choice. Why? Because I love being consistent on this show. I could say that and be a smug, arrogant asshole. But somehow Democrats feel that we, the American people, owe them a vote. You owe the Democrats a debt. And in order to pay it up, you have to pay them their vote. Well, I'm not going to give them my vote. And no, me voting for Dr. Cornel West or any other third-party candidate isn't that they stole my vote. No, those third-party candidates earned my vote. How can they steal something that never belonged to you, Democrats? Why am I talking about this now? Because it leads up to this article from RT. I know I'm using this article from RT just to trigger Democrats. That's why I like to bring up RT, just to trigger the vote blue no matter who people. Democrats or not, we don't owe Joe Biden our votes. That's right, as we should. We should not owe him our votes, and he's not going to get it. U.S. Democratic operatives are already trying to beat their electorate into submission for 2024. So Joe Biden, the oldest president in U.S. history, this is embarrassing, by the way, who would be 82 years old on Inauguration Day. 82. Pathetic Democrats. On Inauguration Day on 2025, should he win a second term, is firmly committed to clinching another round in the White House. But Biden, once a fiery Delaware senator, debatable, and the seventh youngest person ever to be elected to the U.S. Senate at the time, has clearly lost a step. When he announced his latest bid, an Associated Press NORC poll showed that 73% of respondents thought he shouldn't run again, despite admitting they would inevitably hold their noses and vote for him again. Please, listen, if you're a progressive, or if you were a progressive who was browbeaten or yelled at or bullied into voting for Biden in 2020, don't put yourself through that trauma again. It is okay to be a free thinker. And if people are saying they want to end their friendship with you or they're going to vilify you, then guess what? You don't need those people in your lives. Anyone that's going to ruin a relationship on politics was never your friend to begin with. Again, controversial statement here, especially to trigger the vote blue no matter who liberals. I've had more decent conversations with Trump people, Republicans and libertarians than I've had with the vote blue no matter who liberals, the diehard Democrat voters. Now, I will never say I'm going to change somebody's mind, but at least I can get a Trump supporter or a conservative or libertarian and be like, I never thought about that before. Maybe they'll think about it, like Medicare for all or student debt forgiveness or something like that, right? But at least I didn't leave the conversation by being called a Nazi. That's happened to me. You're a Nazi. How? That has happened to me. And by the way, show of hands. If you told people, hey, you're voting third party, that people use some sort of stupid term on you that doesn't even add up. Fast forward today, and there is a conversation happening amongst Democrats that they want competition rather than an outright coronation of Biden. Minnesota Democrat Congressman Dean Phillip, one of the wealthiest members of Congress. Oh, God. They're all wealthy in Congress. All of them. They're all wealthy, rich people. And a vaunted centrist, has been doing the rounds in media, calling on anyone to challenge the incumbent president, add some intrigue to the Democratic primary, and drive enthusiasm. Dean Phillip, I love your enthusiasm, but something tells me you're going to get a baseball bat to the head, like we saw in the Expendables. Yeah, I think I think it's the name of the film. Okay, well, I think I probably just earned some ire in the chat now. Some are speculating that he might launch a bid, though he is probably in no realistic position to do so. There are, of course, candidates like Marianne Williamson, the Crystal Lady, and Robert F. Kennedy Jr., both of whom are running against Biden, but both also have their shortcomings that will, in all likelihood, make them non-contenders, even if they are contributing to the party's overall policy discussions. One challenger from Biden's left flank, however, does stand out, Dr. Cornel West. This is primarily because he's running third-party campaign that will see him sidestep the Democratic Party's notoriously corrupt bureaucracy. Dr. Cornel West, a longtime activist and academic who has taught at some of the world's most prestigious universities like Yale and Harvard, is certainly making the White House anxious. In June, he announced he'd run under the banner of the People's Party, a new left-wing party founded in 2017 by former staffers of independent Senator Bernie Sanders. He then switched his target to the Green Party nomination. This was obviously for strategic reasons, given that the People's Party is not a ballot-qualified party, while the Green Party does have access in many states, 21 as it stands right now. With West poised to have ballot access in some parts of the country, particularly in some tough battleground states, and a clear lack of enthusiasm for Biden, a key philosophical question rises for liberals and progressives. Please don't put progressives with liberals. And if you're a progressive, you don't have to be nice to Democrats. Stop being nice. Stop being nice. All right? Stop being nice. You don't have to be nice. Namely, is voting for Dr. West, essentially throwing your vote away or handing it to the eventual Republican nominee. Many are weighing in and drawing comparisons to other past spoiler candidates like Dr. Jill Stein and Ralph Nader, both former Green Party candidates. First of all, again, I'm quoting Roger Meadows here. All right. No one is saying that Dr. Jill Stein or Ralph Nader are spoiler candidates. Anyone that has a functioning brain, and I'll tell you why. Dr. Jill Stein and Ralph Nader did not get any electoral college votes. Okay, I'm going to say that again. They didn't get any electoral college votes, but for some reason, they always keep on getting vilified. And here's the thing. Let's say Dr. Jill Stein and Ralph Nader didn't run. Democrats, what makes you think those Green Party people would have voted for Al Gore or Hill Dog? Because I'm going to tell you how it's going to play out in 2024 for me. If Dr. Cornel West is not on the ballot, I'll vote for the Libertarian. If the Libertarian is not on the ballot, I will be voting for one of the independents. If there are no independents on the ballot, then I will write somebody's name in. And if I am denied the opportunity of writing someone's name in, I'm voting for neither. Now, you can get upset at me, fine. But I'm also going to go one step further. I encourage my audience to do the same. Just to get you angry, Democrats. Oh, and by the way, I just want to make a quick correction. So Dean Phillips, who is the representative, one of the wealthiest members, who's trying to bring enthusiasm into the race. The scene with the baseball bats from the scene from The Untouchables, not The Expendables. Two different films. Just had to correct myself on that before I get a baseball bat to my head. So, continuing on, John Walsh, the national affairs correspondent for The Nation, weighed in by saying in a column that Cornel West should not be running for president. Oh, shut up. Arguing principally that he would take votes away from Biden. Good. I'm happy about that. She suggests that this is essentially true for black votes because West is a black man that understands racial issues far better than Biden. Precisely because Biden was against the civil rights movement, you stupid lady, who is a white man and the sponsor of the Violent Crime Control and Law Enforcement Act of 1994 that helped ratchet up the incarceration of black Americans. Black voters were an important part of Biden's 2020 electoral coalition. Black people, you don't owe Biden your vote. CNN has reported that Democrats are alarmed about West's Green Party bid, citing concerns about black voter enthusiasm and West potentially taking these votes from Biden. The left-wing high-end tabloid The Daily Beast also uncovered that West owes more than, $500,000. That is chump change. Chump change. It's a way to delegitimize his entire campaign. Stupid. But the notion pushed by the media and Biden operatives that any third-party left-wing candidate has cost Democrats an election doesn't hold up to scrutiny. First of all, if we all chalk up to the Green Party candidate Jill Stein's 2016 votes as votes that should have gone to Hillary Clinton, then we also have to count all the votes that went to the Libertarian candidate Gary Johnson as votes automatically belonging to Donald Trump. The Libertarians actually got about 3 times as many votes as the Greens. In fact, Libertarians have had a very good track record of getting a higher amount of votes than the Green Party has. So, liberals, shut up. Seriously, no one respects you anymore. More importantly, no party is entitled to anyone's vote. Precisely, if a party wants to win an election, then it's the party's job to craft a policy platform and message to reach voters and form the necessary coalition to win a majority in its given electorate. Politicians and parties that are not able to accomplish this are to be left behind with candidates more suited to an electorate's needs choosing to govern. This is supposed to be how democracy works. If Democrats feel like they're getting outflanked by Dr. West, then it is a clear message to change their policy platform, which they won't because AOC's focus on sunscreen and Bernie Sanders is a cuck. The Democratic establishment does not think this way, however, because actually attuning a left party, the Democratic Party is not a left party, to voters' preferences would require significant concessions from the wealthy and corporations. Since the Democratic Party is one sect of the American corporatocracy, this is unacceptable. So they have adopted a strategy of triangulation since Bill Clinton, good friend of Bill Clinton, best buddies to a guy named first name Jeffrey, last name E. Presidency in the 1990s, wherein Democrats acquiesce in positions to the right in order to win the center. This involves the assumption in the absence of an actual left party that left-wing voters will have nowhere else to go and will thus fall in line. Well, I'm not going to do that, and neither should any of you. The Democratic Party is out of touch. So let's talk about the Democratic Party being out of touch with everyone's favorite solution, Bidenomics. Because, hey, folks, gas prices are rising up. But according to Joy Bear from The View, the economy's doing great. So shut up, poor people, and stop complaining. Stop complaining. Here's Bidenomics at its finest.
Well, gas prices are now hitting an 8-month high, with the national average creeping closer to $4 a gallon. That price spike comes during a record-setting summer travel season. Energy experts are saying that the recent rise is primarily due to a jump in the price of crude and the latest production cut by OPEC+.
Gotta love it. But hey, let's talk about Kamala. Because, remember, Biden says he supposedly cares about climate change, and the vice president, the second in command, should be in line too. But even when confronted by people, again, this is supposed to be the person to replace Biden. She can't stop laughing. Tulsi Gabbard is correct. The laugh that Kamala keeps on doing is a nervous tick. She is out of her element, and she is not qualified for this job to be vice president.
Excuse me, Madam Vice President Kamala Harris, we are in a climate emergency, and in the midst of a climate emergency, 80 people have died in Hawaii. 80 people have died. Thousands are displaced due to the climate chaos. And when we were there, we were wondering, yes, I hear you, but the planet is burning.
She's speaking. Do not come. Do not come.
People are dying. The planet is burning and people are dying. And we're wondering if you are...
Now, remember that activist that spoke up quietly but bravely when the White House press secretary was speaking? She's like, Madam, press secretary, there's a climate emergency. What are you going to do? And how everyone was clapping their hands like, yeah, stunning and brave. Woo! This guy speaks out. Get in the guards, get the police, take him out back and beat him.
Your promises, and then we're in the middle of a climate emergency. You're expanding fossil fuels faster than Trump. Expanding fossil fuels faster than Trump is. Y'all are failing on climate. You are burning the planet with expanding fossil fuels faster than Trump. Will you please commit? Please commit to ending fossil fuels on federal land. It was your campaign promise.
Ah. You believed in the campaign promise. You innocent soul. Why would you ever believe them? But I want to pull up something else here, too, because, again, just to remind everyone, you know that thing called Social Security? This man here, Joe 30330, you do know that he's not going to fight for it, just like how he didn't fight for Roe v. Wade. Just like how he didn't fight for student debt forgiveness and anything else. And I know people are saying, oh, Biden's going to do something. Don't worry. It's not going to happen.
Raising the retirement age for people who are now 30 years old, raising the tax on Social Security, cutting benefits. They're all things that have to be discussed, quite frankly. Say to me is, whoa, don't touch that third. Look, American people aren't stupid.
Yeah. He doesn't want, again, folks, he's going to go after Social Security. But I want to pull up something else here, too. And it's a perfect segue into this administration. Because, again, what's happening to the people of Hawaii, especially on the island of Maui. White House today blew off criticism over President Biden being on vacation and offering a no comment this weekend during the catastrophic fires in Maui, the deadliest wildfires in the U.S. in more than a century. Okay, and again, we have our wonderful press secretary who is always telling people, hey, don't worry about it. You know, was questioned by CNN on whether the American people should see the president working the phone rather than spending time on the beach during a crisis after Biden spent the weekend in Renbos, Delaware, and returned to the White House on Monday morning. You have you all have gotten pool reports on who the president has connected with, so there you go. And again, people are wondering why Biden is not doing anything. Well, because Biden doesn't care. Biden on Sunday morning during a bike ride, and Ray Boss, I don't even know how to say that place, replied, we're looking into it when asked about whether he would go to Maui. They're looking into it. Let's talk about how the people feel about it in the island of Maui and what they're dealing with.
It's been so hard, very hard. Never, I think in my life would I have imagined that we would have something like this.
Lahaina town itself, I cannot describe how hard feelings I get.
Any comments on the Biden death toll on Maui?
No comment. I just want to give the people a heads up. So look, and hey, people, if we got anyone from Ohio who lives in East Palestine, Ohio, if we got anyone from Flint, Michigan, if we got any, because right now there's a lot of wildfires that are taking place. I'm not going to be raising the alarms here, but I'm going to be hitting that quiet alarm button. There's a lot of wildfires that are happening here. Kind of suspicious, a little suspicious, because to the people of East Palestine, Ohio, to the people of Lahaina, Hawaii, whatever you do not sign anything, okay? Because I could see the black rock vultures flying on down, ready to consume. Do you understand? They're going to be coming after you. I'll tell you why. First of all, here's Hawaiian Senator Brian Schatz. Can't even hide a smirk as Maui burned. He's seeing dollar bill signs for huge Democratic donors like Oprah, Zuckerberg, and other billionaires who will scoop in and on the land and steal it from native-born Hawaiians. So let's go ahead and play it.
Brian Schatz is the Democratic senator from Hawaii who shared these images from a devastated Maui during his tour of the area yesterday, and he is here to tell us about it now. Senator, it's great to have you under awful circumstances, and like I said to Senator Hirono last night, everybody I've talked to and
now I know that this is a sarcastic comment, but one of our commentators, Vicky Blair, shout out to you, lovely. But Kit, Biden's giving away a one-time $700 per household payment. Yeah, that's the best Biden's gonna do. $700 to any of our audience members that live in the great state of Hawaii. And I hope that you were not impacted, but if you are from the Lahaina community or any of the communities that were impacted by the fires, is $700 going to solve your problems? Because I know for a fact that it ain't. I'm very curious to know more about Hawaii. If we got anyone from any of these activist groups or organizations that are down in the ground there, what's happening? People want to know, because obviously this administration is trying to say that everything's all fine when I think we all know it's not. And again, the smug little smile on this senator should make everyone's skin crawl.
Seen is thinking about folks in Hawaii and pulling for you and sending love and concern. What did you see yesterday when you were able to tour the parts that were so devastated?
Thanks, Chris, for doing this, and thank you for your kind words. And I just want to thank everybody across the country and across the world for the solidarity and the support and the money that is pouring in, because this is a disaster ongoing. We are still in disaster response. We are not in the rebuilding phase. But what I saw was it was as though a bombing run had happened on Lahaina. It's flattened. It is razed to the ground. The sugar mill is intact. The lighthouse is intact.
Why'd you say the sugar mill is intact? It's oddly specific there, buddy. Okay. Maybe I'm looking too much into it.
The banyan tree is still standing, but it's unclear whether it or not it will survive. But basically everything else is gone. We've got thousands of people now in temporary shelters. We're trying to restore power and telecommunications, but this is every bit as bad as the pictures. We walk down Front Street, and it is a smoldering, toxic mess where it used to be this vibrant town of Native Hawaiians and Filipinos and Portuguese and Caucasians and tourists from all over the planet, and people surfing and fishing and watching the whales and having a beer and dancing hula. And it is now what you see.
Now, the thing is, what he's painting a picture of is the romanticized version of Hawaii. There's a massive amount of homelessness in Hawaii. On yesterday's show with RBN and Due Dissidents, kind of looking into it, underneath the pretty image of Hawaii that's sold to everybody, there is a lot of corruption and abuse of power and people that are hurt. Hawaii has a very brutal history of when the United States took it over. It is not for the faint of hearts.
On the screen. So it's a devastating time for the people of Hawaii, and we appreciate the solidarity as we navigate through the next several weeks and months.
Now that you sat through that scumbag, because he's a senator, he's a politician. Again, folks, I just want to play this video here. And again, I encourage you guys just to listen carefully. And this also goes out to the people of East Palestine and Ohio. This goes out to any community that's been devastated by hurricanes, tornadoes, natural fires, natural disasters, infrastructure failings, such as a train derailment, leaking out chemicals, or a chemical plant explosion. Whatever you do, when these vulture capitalist corporations like BlackRock start flying around like the vultures that they are, don't sign anything.
Okay, I gotta tell you guys, I am so frustrated with investors and realtors calling the families who lost their home, offering to buy their land. How dare you do that to our community right now? If you are a victim, Kalamai, sorry, I had a little bit poor reception right there. If you are a victim and they are calling you, please get their name. People keep calling me, sorry. Get their business name so we can put them on blast. This is some pilau heva shit happening right now. I am so frustrated hearing since yesterday that multiple families that I know personally were reached out and offered money from investors and realtors. Shame on you. Shame on you. If you are a Maui realtor contributing to that, karma's going to come and get you. Okay? That is pilau. And if you are a realtor and they are calling you, investors are calling you to represent them, I hope you have dignity and aloha and compassion to turn them away and tell them off. And I need you guys to do me a favor and get their name and their business name, and we're going to put them on blast. That is some pilau. Please spread the word. If you're a victim and they are reaching out to you, DM me their name, business, try to get as much information out of these guys and send it to me.
Precisely. And by the way, folks, again, what can we take away from all of this? Because now apparently, DNC wants to talk about the political ramifications, because the Democrats want to paint this pretty picture of, oh, we're going to give hope and change. We're going to make things nice. Kamala Harris and Biden are pragmatic. They know how to lead, but there's a lot of consequences and repercussions and blowback that corporate media is not prepared for. The smoke is coming, and they ain't ready. So let's pull up this video here from Case Study QB, who is wrongly being censored because, again, the Hunter Biden scandals, the Hunter Biden laptop, the failures of this administration, the fact that this administration is still carrying on with a lot of Trump's foreign and domestic policies, and the very fact that, again, this administration has been indifferent to the American people, but also this administration is giving billions upon billions of dollars to this ridiculous war in Ukraine. Let's play it here. Let's see what BS DNC has to say.
How worried are they, though, politically, that the Hunter Biden matter, and again, this is not apples to apples. It's very different. Hunter Biden's name is not on any ballot. It's not 4 indictments. But just it could provide a distraction and a talking point like this for Republicans.
There's certainly concern, Jonathan.
Again, so stupid. Again, Hunter Biden's name may not be in a ballot, but his pop is.
If you look at the trajectory of this case, he was on track to have a plea deal that was essentially going to absolve him of serving any jail time, and that, most importantly for Joe Biden, would resolve this legal matter before he really kicks off his reelection campaign in earnest. Now, because that deal fell apart and because of the way this has progressed, that prosecutor is now a special counsel. That means this case is going to last for months longer, possibly into 2024. And, you know, if Hunter Biden can't agree to some revised deal with the Justice Department, you could see a trial progressing involving the president's son as the president is asking voters to give him 4 more years in the White House.
Yeah, and certainly a nonsensical argument there from Senator Cruz, but the issue does remain. So it does seem, though, that we know that so much of the 2022 case for Democrats, one voiced by President Biden, was that democracy is at stake here. That's going to be the case next year, too. But will he be limited into how he can address that threat if he won't talk about some of these criminal matters? How do they arrange that?
So I wanted that to play for a little bit. I've been reading the chat. You guys are being absolutely brutal, and I love it. You guys are so beautiful. I again, cheers off to you. But look, Biden in the 2020 campaign trail, I don't know if his senile old brain remembers this or not, but he said he had no business dealings with his son Hunter, and that his son Hunter has done nothing illegal, which turned out to be a lie. That's a surprise. Color me shocked. But again, he's going to have to deal with it, and this administration doesn't know what to do. And before any one of the vote blue, no matter who people say, oh, this is not a big deal, it kind of is, because Biden's going to have to be quick with words. And to be fair, at one point in his life, he was a silver-tongued SOB, but now he's a stuttering, slammering, slobbering, foolish fool. He's senile. He's showing signs of dementia and Alzheimer's. You can't hide it. You can't hide it. He is an old dog. He is done. He is done, and he can't defend his son. I mean, seriously, liberals, go ahead. Give me your fear tactics again and call me a bad guy. I can't wait to live rent-free in your head.
That's a great question because, as you rightly point out, the White House and President Biden have been super careful not to talk about these allegations involving Donald Trump. But if the thrust of his argument against Donald Trump is this guy's committed illegal acts that make him unfit to serve, and he goes back to Charlottesville, he talks about these themes all the time, he's going to need to thread that needle in some way. And he's going to need to make it in an energetic way because, as we've seen, Donald Trump has been talking nonstop about these cases on social media, at his rallies, to whip up his supporters. And supporters of Joe Biden on the other side are obviously very upset with Donald Trump's behavior. So they're going to want to hear what Joe Biden has to say.
And even if the president himself feels like he can't, some Democrats likely need to be empowered to talk about it, as one put it to me recently.
Yeah. So in other words, you know what that means? They're going to have people speak for Biden because Biden can't speak for himself. And look, when you have a president that is so old that he has to be guided by people and have figureheads to speak for him, he's not the leader then. That doesn't inspire confidence or strength. What it inspires is concern and fear because this old dog isn't aware of his surroundings. That's Joe 30330 for you.
A pretty good argument to make. Vote for our guy. The other guy's going to jail. But on this right now, anyway, the White House seems like they're focused on the business of governing. Get the job done, sort of create that implicit contrast to what's happening with Trump. We know he's heading to Wisconsin today to talk about the economy. Tomorrow, he's marking the one-year anniversary of the Inflation Reduction Act. That's what he wants to be talking about. But it does seem like the White House is getting, and the president himself, getting a little criticism to how he's responded to these wildfires out in Hawaii.
Yeah, that's right. He appeared to be caught a little flat-footed when he was at the beach over the weekend.
Flat-footed. Well, here's the thing. I could somewhat maybe see where, in fact, it might cause some logistical problems of maybe Biden visiting Maui, but that's not preventing him from visiting the larger island, Hawaii, maybe being a distant away by saying, hey, we're here to help, trying to figure out some way, maybe, I don't know. There's a thing called the Navy. Biden could be on one of the naval ships. He is the commander in chief. Like, look, I'm just throwing stuff at the wall. I mean, he doesn't have to be on the land, but at least be in the vicinity there. So, okay, fine. And hey, who's going to cause problems with the naval ship, right? So there you go. Put me in the game, coach. I'm ready. I'm ready for politics and marketing. I could do it. For that home run homer. Jesus Christ. But no, what did Biden do? No comment. He goes on a bike ride. No comment. We're looking into it.
Again, he was asked by reporters to comment on the death toll. I mean, this is the deadliest wildfire outbreak in U.S. history, and he essentially said no comment. And so, for a politician who's really prided himself on empathy and compassion, setting up that contrast implicitly with Donald Trump, he kind of failed to meet the moment there. So, I would expect that they're talking in the White House about how the president is going to get out to Hawaii and when, but he'll maybe have a second bite at the apple then.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised if we hear from him today en route to Wisconsin talking about Hawaii, because you're right. That's one that some aides have said.
Well, we'll see if he talks about it or he forgets it, because he's a senile old goat. So let's have democracy in the chat. With all this talk of how the Democratic operatives are trying to smear and slander Dr. Cornel West, and yes, dismiss Marianne Williamson and RFK Jr., and bully people on social media by telling them to vote for Biden because if you don't, it makes you a bad, bad person and you're helping Trump. Type 1 if you're like, no, kid, you know what? I'm going to help out Biden. Type 1 for I am going to help out Biden because I want to live in a fairy tale world. Type 2, no comment. Type 2, no comment. And for those of you who I know who are brutal, I know you'll put in your own answer too on why you're not doing a no comment. Because I have no comment to the vote blue no matter who, and their entire ridiculous defense of a man that doesn't know his ass from a hole in the ground. I have no comment anymore for people who want to bully other people by saying, if you don't vote for my person, you are the villain. If I'm the villain, fine. Because if you're the hero and you're the standard of what a good person is, no comment.